Hello and welcome to On Europa League Match Day 4. We've chosen the best 8 games to analyze with you in this Match Day 4. Of course, we have Galatasaray, Tottenham, for instance, and Lazio Porto. Some good games with 𝐬𝐵𝐵𝐴, with Alvaro Romeo. Hello, guys. 3 teams with 9 points, Lazio, Tottenham, and Anderlecht, and plenty of good teams in this Europa League, plenty of goals. So let's try to make some money in this week. Remember, guys, to leave your comments, to press the like, subscribe. Let's go on now with the show. There is one game on Wednesday, Besiktas Malmo, but we are going to jump into the games on Thursday in the early kickoffs. We've chosen Frankfurt, Slavia Prague. It should be a good game because Frankfurt, they are doing a brilliant season, and we know that they like European football. Third in the Bundesliga, Masmus scoring plenty of goals in Germany. Last week, for instance, they scored 8 against Bochum. And in the Europa League, they are also doing great things. 7 points, I would say should have been 9 because they threw away the game against Victoria Pilsen. And Slavia Prague could be a dangerous team. Alvaro, we saw them competing really well in San Mamés. So far, 4 points, but perhaps they even deserve more.
I think that they are better than their numbers suggest. Really, at San Mamés, they deserve to get at least a point. Athletic Club Bilbao had to grind it very hard to win it. And I think they are competitive, and 4 points is a booty that maybe they could say, all right, this is about right, but in reality they should have 5 points. Slavia is a good side. I think that their intensity is contagious. Most of their players, they are very, very committed from what I saw the other day, and then they are top in their league as well, which doesn't necessarily mean much coming into this game, but it tells you at least that it's a serious side, that they've got this habit of winning, and they've got this habit of doing these things well, or the things well, on a weekly basis, which is very good. But they are playing against Frankfurt, and Frankfurt, not only they've got 7 points, but also they are doing very well in the Bundesliga. This weekend, they beat Bochum 7-2. That's why they are third in the table, 7-2. So this may give us a hint about their scoring capacity, and maybe this should make us look at the goals market. They are the second highest scoring side in the Bundesliga, and they've got a footballer like Omar Marmoush, who is having a great season, and he has scored 10 goals already alone in the Bundesliga. And also, it's a team that depends a lot on traps distribution. As a goalkeeper, he has given 25 passes in the Europa League, and he's got 100% passing accuracy. So he's basically the foundational stone for many of Frankfurt's attacks. All that said, look, I think that Frankfurt is the favorite, but I think that Slavia Prague is going to stay competitive, and maybe it takes Frankfurt a little bit to score the first game. So a double chance in the first half for Slavia Prague pays 161, and I don't think that is that crazy. But overall, I think that Frankfurt eventually will end up just opening the scoreline, cracking the bottle, and scoring a goal. So Frankfurt to win, yes. But I think that it will be slightly more difficult than the odds suggest. Frankfurt to win 185, but in the first half, I can expect a very tight game, so I wouldn't discard a first half double chance for Slavia Prague.
Okay, Theo and Trippi are going for over for goals. Eintracht Frankfurt, 7 goals scored and 4 conceded, so plenty of goals in their games. Leo?
Yes, absolutely. As almost every team in the Bundesliga, that's the norm there. They are leaky at the back as much as they score. They are leaky at the back. But the best goal scoring form for Eintracht Frankfurt in the Bundesliga in 31 years, when 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲 was leading Eintracht Frankfurt, and now they have another African player leading the way, as you and Alvaro has mentioned, with the Egyptian Marmoush. Last season he scored 17 times in all competitions, and Alvaro mentioned he's already on 10, so he's going to surpass his best number very, very, very soon. 𝗀𝗏𝗿𝐿 is also on great form. He scored a brace against Bochum. He has 7 in all competitions, and again, very quickly he's going to get to his personal best numbers. For Slavia Prague, they are also a high scoring side, yes, of course, within the context of a minor league like the Czech league, but they have scored 28 times in 13 matches. But it's mostly the defensive work when you look at their numbers, which is more impressive, because they have conceded only 4 times in those 13 games. I do believe, yes, Frankfurt here is the favorite to win. I will go that route of Eintracht Frankfurt to win. The odds are good, 1.80, but also both teams to score, which has 1.67 odds. So for me, those two sounds good.
Home win and both teams to score, actually. Jordan is telling us, agreeing completely with you. I remember Eintracht ruin our safe bet, Alvaro Oraca, I don't remember, again with Victoria Pilsen is the game that they couldn't win, but they threw it away in the last minute. But they look very focused in these first months of the season. Also doing a great season, Galatasaray. Tottenham is the next game. Galatasaray top in the Turkish league. They beat Besiktas 2-1. Osimhen scoring. We got some comment already mentioning the Nigerian, 7 points in the Europa League. Another team scoring plenty of goals, but it's true that they had a very easy schedule in the Europa League. The draw, for instance, was against Rigas, and Spurs destroyed Aston Villa. Solanke scored a brace. They had a great week also. Remember, they beat Man City, and away they give us some doubts. Leo, actually, they lost the last 2 away games in the Premier League. Palace and Brighton. In the Europa League, though, they beat Ferencváros away.
Yes, absolutely. The form on Europa League is great for Tottenham, but this is the biggest challenge so far for them, absolutely, because Karabakh at home, AZ Alkmaar at home, and Ferencváros away is not the same that this test now with the Turkish side. I think everyone is expecting both teams to score, also 1.4 for both teams to score, yes, which is very low. The Galatasaray is the highest scoring side so far of the Europa League with 9, and they produce on Matchday 3 a good 4-3 to watch against Elfsborg. Of course, the eyes is going to be on Victor Osimhen, but also Mauro Icardi as the number 9. However, so far when they play together, one of them has scored and the other one not, and even they have run separate paths to celebrate those goals. I think we're still waiting to see how good they could be together, Osimhen and Mauro Icardi. But then you have Mickey van de Ven, who is out injured. Romero is probably out as well, injured. So that's going to be a huge challenge for Tottenham centre backs. Basically, you are left with Ben Davies and Radu Dragusin against Osimhen and Mauro Icardi. Postecoglou tried his own version of a double 9 against Villa when he introduced Richarlison, and it paid because Richarlison assisted Solanke for one of the goals, but then Richarlison got out of the mouth injured and he's not going to travel to Turkey apparently, so I don't see there's going to be enough room for Postecoglou with all these injuries to rotate his team in Turkey. For sure, Pedro Porro and Udoci are going to be on the as you're going to play as the fullback, and Pedro Porro is going to have to deal with Yunus Akgün, who has scored 3 goals in 3 games from the left side for Galatasaray. The atmosphere, of course, is going to be amazing, as it always is in Istanbul. But I don't think at this level it makes any difference. The player, they can win, they can lose, they can play well or bad, but for me it has nothing to do with the atmosphere. But the most important thing is what you said at the beginning. Tottenham away from home, regardless the atmosphere, is not the same as Tottenham playing at home. Against Brighton, they were winning 2-0 and they lost the game. Against Crystal Palace, they were coming from a great 4-1 against West Ham at home, and they they did not create almost anything in Selhurst Park, and they lost the game 1-0. So this side, for me, still Tottenham is slightly the favorite here, but I wouldn't go because the quality overall of their names is bigger than in Galatasaray. But I'm not going X1 or X2. My take here is first 10 minutes corners over 0.5, 1.53. I can see Galatasaray pushing from the beginning. And then second half goals over 1.5, odds of 1.67.
Interesting market. This one, at least one corner in the first 10 minutes. For goals, most of the people here are going for goals or both teams to score. Mostly also Galatasaray to win. They are tending on Galatasaray to win. How do you see it, Alvaro?
Similar to Leo, actually. Over 1.5 goals in the second half would be one of my picks, yes. Otherwise, over 3 goals in the game, 172, I like it too. I mean, both teams are unbeaten. Losing this game won't be the end of the world, obviously, because there are still 5 to go. A very special game, by the way, for Davinson Sanchez and Lucas Torreira. Davinson because he played for Spurs, Torreira because he played for Arsenal. And, I think that Galatasaray has done a very good recruitment. It's not only the 2 men who are playing up front, Osimhen and Icardi. Also, I believe that Mertens can be still a very good footballer, not with the physicality he had before, but he adds clarity to passing sequences, attacking moves, and then in midfield. Torreira is not my cup of tea, but I admit that he can be a competent footballer at least. And then Gabriel Sara, who has given 5 assists in the Turkish league, topping that ranking, was a very clever signing because he helps keeping the possession. He is a tasty midfielder with a very good creativity. And at the end of the day, Galatasaray signed one of the best players of the championship last year. I mean, he was in the championship best lineup last season. And, I think that this is a player that we shouldn't overlook, the Brazilian Gabriel Sara. But yeah, I mean, Galatasaray has scored already 9 goals. They are the highest scoring side altogether with Lazio. And Spurs, score a lot of goals as well. They are doing well in the Europa League. True, Van de Ven and Romero are not there, which may help Osimhen and Icardi scoring. But we know that when Spurs score goals, they tend to be free-flow football and they tend to produce something quite spectacular, like the second half against Aston Villa that I don't forget because it was a very good display from them the other day. So for me, this is a goals game. So I'm going to go for over 1.5 goals in the second half, as I said, over 3 goals in the game. And if I have to plump for a team, I will go for a draw no bet for Galatasaray, 190. But, this is just a feeling. I don't have the self-conviction to do this, obviously, because I think that Tottenham on a good day as well, they can punish you.
The top scorer of Galatasaray in this competition is Yunus Akgun with 3 goals. No Osimhen or no Icardi. For instance, this should be a great game with plenty of goals. Galatasaray Tottenham, that's why the odds are actually low for goals and very high for 1x2 for every single outcome. Next game is Nice Twente. Both are 5th in their leagues, and Nice, they had a tough start of the season, but they beat Brest and Monaco, 2 of the Champions League teams of the French league in the last weeks, but they are showing also really poor numbers in these Europa Leagues. Only 1 point with Real Sociedad lost to Lazio and Ferencváros, so they should get the 3 points. They are very favorite, but Twente could be dangerous. They've been competitive in this Europa League, Alvaro, and they've had a really tough schedule. Man United, Fenerbahce, and Lazio.
Very difficult one. And, they didn't collapse in the first couple of games, but then they lost to Lazio 2-0 because Lazio right now is in a good moment. And, one thing that we have to say is that in the game against Lazio, Twente was reduced to 10 men because there was a red card to their goalkeeper, first choice goalkeeper. So for this game, Titon is going to play. And it's funny because Titon, I remember that he was for a few years the goalkeeper of Poland, but I'm talking 15 years ago. and he's still there. He must be like 36 or 37 years old, and he may have a chance to play here. One of the reasons why Twente was punished in the last game against Lazio is because they play with a really high line, and I think that if 𝐻𝐿 is quick and fast, just giving that pass to the forward, maybe they can capitalize on that high line, offside high line. But yeah, this is a must win for 𝐻𝐿. I mean, 𝐻𝐿, as you said, Edu, they are 5th in the league. They are unbeaten at home this season, which is a good hint. At home, they haven't been terrific, but on the other hand, no one has gotten the better of them. And, they can play with intensity as well. They've got a footballer like 𝗵𝗵𝗀, who is the leader of balls recovered in the Europa League. No one has recovered more balls than him. He's a joint leader with another footballer there in that department. And I think that his energy will be very needed to beat a side like Twente, who, as I said before, play with high line because they try to put into practice a high-pressure game. All that said, I'm going to be ready to back to 𝐻𝐿 because they need the win. They know that this is the moment for them. So 𝐻𝐿 to win 205 looks to me like there is a good value in there. Yeah, I will take it.
All right, Theo says Twente to score over 1.5 goals. That's a lot of goals. Mustafa for an under in the first goal. Usually, 𝐻𝐿 is a kind of under team. Leo, we don't see usually many goals in their games.
Well, actually, yes. I mean, I will go similar routes than Alvaro. I mean, for me, here is 𝐻𝐿 to win with those odds closer to or hovering around 2. But yes, goals market under for me is also a good one, especially goals under 2.5. In this one, goals under 2.5 with odds close to 1.8. And 𝐻𝐿. Anyway, after the defeat in Budapest with Ferencváros, everything looked bleak, to say the least, up to that moment, because they were 6 without winning in all competition, just 1 point out of 9 in the Europa League, and the French Riviera Derby against Monaco was coming in Lyon. However, they won that derby this weekend. They won away again against another Champions League team like Brest. So it's happy days now for them with those 16 points in the Ligue, just 4 away from Champions League spots. And looking at the fixtures, yes, they need to win this one. It's Twente, and then again at home with the Rangers on Matchday 5, and they will close the league stage at home as well. So basically 3 out of the next 5 games for 𝐻𝐿 are at home. So despite this bad start of 1 point after possible 9, I believe they should make the case for at least a playoff position. And for Twente, I think is not so far of what we could have thought they're going to arrive on Matchday 4, because facing Manchester United in Old Trafford, then Fenerbahce and Lazio, I would have said maybe the maximum they could aspire beforehand was like 3 points, maybe beating Fenerbahce. So in the end, you have 2 points again. It's not that too far away for what I thought at the beginning. They are as well a hard team to break down. That's why you were mentioning 𝐻𝐿, their defensive work, but this also Twente's defensive work. 1-1 with Manchester United, Fenerbahce, yes, with Lazio. I would say it was a 2-goal difference. It would have been 4 or 5, it's true, because they are risky a team who takes risk with that high line. But they are a team who is also difficult to break down. In the Eredivisie, they have conceded only 9 goals so far, which is the same as Ajax and PSV, which are the first and the second in that league. So I believe they should be, although 𝐻𝐿 is the favorite here to win, they should give a defensive challenge to the French side. That's why, again, I repeat, 𝐻𝐿 to win for me, and goals under 2.5, my takes for this 𝐻𝐿 Twente.
Yes, Edu,
yes.
Just to say something else, 𝐻𝐿 is a little bit unpredictable too, because this season they have scored 13 goals at home in 5 games, which sounds like a lot, but 8 of those goals happen against Saint Etienne. They scored 8 against Saint Etienne this season. So they are a little bit difficult to read, but when they have a decent day, they are capable of being competitive. Just very quickly, they drew with PSG at Paris, and then they beat Monaco and Saint Etienne, which are results that stand out a little bit. So, I think that 𝐻𝐿 may have a chance here.
Yeah, of course. Even Brest, they are not royalty, but they are playing Champions League with good numbers. So far, only 1 point for Nice, so they are a bit under pressure. Jordan or Marco are going for both teams to score in this game. Next one is Olympiakos Rangers. Good odds also to back here the home team, also fourth in the Greek league with so many surprises this year. But 6 points in the Europa League. They beat Braga, they beat Malmo. The only defeat was against Lyon, and the Rangers actually also lost heavily at home against Olympique Lyon 4-1, and also beat Malmo. So kind of similar results, Leo. But again, Olympiakos really favorite for this game.
Yes, and to be honest, whoever the winner, which I believe should be Olympiakos here, is going to secure already a place in the playoff, because it's going to be 9 points out of possible 12. The win in Malmo was good for Olympiakos, and it could have been more than that 0-1, because 𝐿𝐵 missed the penalty with 7 minutes to go. The Moroccan is definitely one of the European strikers of the year of the 2024. 14 goals in his last 10 European games. We know that he scored in every game on the route to the Conference League final last season, and now he brought that form again into this Europa League. In the domestic competition, he has already scored 6 in 10 games, and also for Olympiakos, it's important. I mean, it's important, but not as important, as urgent as it is for Rangers, especially looking at the fixtures. Because even a draw could be okay for Olympiakos here, because on the last match day, they are facing Qarabağ at home, which is almost like 3 points secure for them, and that could see them taking at least 10 points in this league stage. But for Rangers, it's more crucial, because the fixtures are not amicable at all. They have Olympiakos now on Thursday, Manchester United away, Tottenham at home, Nice away, and then they're gonna play Union Saint-Gilloise in Glasgow. So I think the draw not being too bad for Olympiakos, but urgently a win for Rangers. Olympiakos is facing on Sunday, if I'm not wrong, PAOK. So I don't know if maybe Mendilibar might be tempted to reserve some players. And Rangers did the homework on matchday 3, but it's not just they need to win this game because of the fixtures they have in this Europa League, but also because they could arrive to December being out of everything, because they're not fighting for the league already in Scotland, because they are 9 points behind Celtic and Aberdeen. And if that happens to you, you are 9 points behind Celtic, you know the year is done for you in the Scottish League, and especially now you have another team in the mix like Aberdeen. So very important times for Rangers, desperate time for them. So for me, Olympiakos to win 1.9, and goals, I expect goals here, goals over 2.5, 1.8.
𝐿𝐵 to score. Theo is mentioning him. He scored at the weekend. He was one of the stars of last conference. The great success they had with Mendilibar on the bench. How is the vibe in Athens, Álvaro?
Well, the vibe is good, I would say. They are still happy about having won the Conference League. In the league, they are fourth, but this is slightly irrelevant right now, because in Greece, after the regular season, there is a playoff round, and it doesn't matter that much that you finish fourth. As long as you finish in the top 6, you will have a second chance to win the league. But yeah, you were mentioning 𝐿𝐵. I mean, 3 goals in the Europa League this season already, which is quite incredible. 1 goal per game. So his ratio is still there and hasn't decreased a lot after a terrific Conference League season and campaign. And in total, he has scored 9 goals already, 𝐿𝐵. So that's why him to score pays in the region of 2.15, which is something that I encourage people to take into consideration. Then there is another footballer at Olympiakos. Leo will remember this guy because he won the Copa Libertadores twice with Flamengo. I'm talking about Rodinei, the Brazilian right back. Rodinei, he is there, and he has got already 6 goals involvements this season for a right back. And we know that he likes attacking and all that. But for a right back, those are Marcus Tavernier numbers. basically. Do you remember in the Europa League? It was sensational 2 years ago. So, Olympiakos is doing well this season. It's doing okay. The game in Tumba in the weekend against PAOK is going to define a little bit the rest of the month. But I do believe that here are the favorites, just because Glasgow Rangers are in a very bad moment, and I know that they beat Bucharest 4-0 in the last game with lovely goals from a footballer who is on loan from Wolfsburg, like 𝗀𝗏, who was running the show in that game. But for example, in the weekend, they qualified for the cup final after beating Motherwell, and many people were very critical of Glasgow Rangers and Philippe Clement, and even critical of Tavernier, a footballer that I thought that was a hero in there, but apparently he's not having his best season. So I'm going to back Olympiakos to win because they are playing at home. Olympiakos under Mendilibar, they have the know-how in Europe, and Olympiakos to win pays about right, 193. I think the money is pretty decent.
They are fourth in the Greek league with the teams of Thessaloniki on top and Panathinaikos even farther down in the table. By the way, the top scorer is Spanish, Álvaro, in the Greek league, Loren Moron.
Not Dani Garcia. I've got a friend who supports Olympiakos, and he's crazy about Olympiakos, and he complains a lot about Dani Garcia, former Athletic de Bilbao player. He tells me, but who is this guy? Who on earth is this guy? But in the Greek league, there are so many Spanish guys who do well last season. Let's don't forget that Olympiakos won the Europa League with 𝐻𝐞𝐿 and Vicente Iborra. And Iborra was sensational in the final. Then he left to Levante.
Yeah, the two top scorers, the other one, I never heard of him, but Loren Moron was Betis player. Over goals for Marco and Olympiakos 2. This one I didn't get it actually from Jordan, but let's back Olympiakos here. Next game is very, very tricky. Royal Union Saint-Gilloise Roma, and you can see in the odds because Royal Union Saint-Gilloise, they are terrible this season. They are 10th in the Belgian league. It's only one win in the last 7 games in all competitions. Also, they are terrible in the Europa League. 1 point drawing with Bodo Glimt and losing to Fenerbahce and Midtjylland. But this Roma is still to win. An away game, we saw them again as a disaster. In Verona, Leo and me are waiting for juries to get sacked for weeks and weeks, Álvaro, but it's not arriving that moment, and maybe he's still on the bench in Belgium this Thursday.
Yeah, and I'm going to make a small poll with you guys. What do you think about Graham Potter for Roma? Because apparently he's in the candidate list, in the short list to be the new Roma manager, and I would be kind of excited to see him back because his job at Chelsea was what it was, okay? Not good. But at Brighton and Hove Albion, he did a decent job. I think he deserves a second chance. Maybe Roma is too much for him, I don't know, but, it's a possibility.
From all the names that they
Italian experience, to be honest.
Yeah, but at the same time, with all the names that they are sounding, or the rumors are saying that they could arrive to Roma's bench, I think at least Potter is the one more suitable to the players Roma has at the moment, because Roberto Mancini, one of them they are mentioning. I mean, to be honest, the type of the brand of football from Roberto Mancini is not that far away from Juric. Better results, yeah, but the brand of football is similar. Allegri, I can't see it. Sarri is a brand of football closer to Potter, but he managed Lazio, so it cannot be. They even mentioned Frank Lampard because of this Frankett family, the position they have now in Everton. But the thing is, like this, Paulo Sousa, the ex-Poland and Flamengo manager as well, who's now in Dubai, basically they give you an idea, and sorry, I'll let you continue, Alvaro, that they don't know what they want. They're absolutely lost. If these are all the names and so different one with the other, it's because they're completely lost.
And don't forget Daniele De Rossi.
Yeah,
but I think they won't go that route, and he not himself directly, but friends and family, they said he wouldn't take, even he was offered to get back, he wouldn't say yes because of the way he was treated just 2 months ago.
Our producer Danail is flagging if Erik ten Hag could be an option.
You won Roma in Serie B, eh?
Well, anyway, let me go with the game. I think that Roma is going to dominate this game. In fact, if you check the Europa League numbers, Roma is the first in possession with a 64% ratio. Yes, in the last 3 games, and among the top 10 players with more passes attempted, 3 belong to Roma. So I think that they will try to dominate the game here, but then they are very slow. I remember watching them full game against Athletic Club Bilbao in match day 1, and one thing that I didn't like about Roma is that they always have to give an extra pass. Very few players have the ball in their feet only for one touch. No one-touch football. It was a slow side. It's true that very well, in my opinion, protected in the middle with 3 center backs plus Paredes, who is, an important player right now in Roma. But then, they were lacking some spark. That's for sure. It's true that 𝗛𝗲𝗿𝗀, he's scoring a few goals. They beat Dynamo Kiev, in fact, Roma, thanks to a goal from the Ukrainian striker. He scored from the penalty spot. But, as bad as Roma is right now, Union Saint-Gilloise are 10th in their league. It's true that they've got a positive goal difference, which suggests that they should climb spots on the table very soon, locally. But still, I think that Roma has to correct a so-so start, and I think that they can do it. Roma, 4 points. They drew with Athletic Bilbao. They won. They beat Dynamo Kiev. So nothing has been lost yet. For Roma, it's mandatory to qualify, and Union Saint-Gilloise has only 1 point. And I think Roma is going to impose the fact that they've got better players and that they are better. I know that Roma is not doing well. I know that a new manager may be coming up soon, but I'm going to back Roma with a draw, no bet, plain and simple, 188.
I am a Roma supporter, and it's so difficult to trust this Roma. Very leaky at the back, but in this Europa League, we are not seeing many goals in Roma's games. Leo, only 2 goals scored, only two goals conceded. And remember, they were even able to lose in the home of Elfsborg.
Yes, absolutely. 1-0 that game. But I think, Eduardo, they will manage to make it at least to a playoff position, because I think at the end of the day, I still believe that the most important thing is that the quality is there. Roma has a very good squad. That's what is super annoying with this situation, because with a different coach, or if they would have stayed with Daniele De Rossi, they changed him at the moment when he was finding finally the team, the rhythm, after that very good draw against Genoa, and they fired him, and from there everything went down. And especially this last weekend, losing against Verona, 3-2, but still the quality is there, and that's why I'm still backing them. That's why I still trusting them, and that's when you believe, or I believe, okay, at some point this needs to turn, because as much as we talk about 𝗀𝗏𝗏 and the manager and how the supporters are absolutely mad at the ex-Torino manager, let's not forget, these players, they go on Sunday to the Olympico, Roma playing Bologna, and if they don't win on Thursday, the ire of the supporters is going to be as well with the players, which is already there with some of them, but it's going to be with the full team if they don't get a good results here in Belgium against Union Saint-Gilloise. Then they need to still face Tottenham on match day 5 on the 28th of this month. They still need to play as well Eintracht Frankfurt. So that's why it's very important match this for Roma. And at the end of the day, as you guys said, this is a team, Union Saint-Gilloise, 10th in the league. They won only 1 of their last 9 games in all competitions, and that was a cup game in Belgium against Eupen, who is 9th in the 2nd division. So that tells us quite a lot. So for me, the odds on Roma are good, are great, even though the situation does not guarantee anything but 3 points, but I still believe in them, and the quality is there, and they should show it before going on Sunday to the Olympico and face their own supporters at home. So Roma to win, 2.5 for me to take, and also Roma first team to score, odds of 2.
Okay, 𝗀𝗵𝐴 also is going for Roma. Draw no bet, but staying away from Roma games since they are not reliable. I would say they've been terrible, especially defensively, as we saw in Verona. The third goal is a disgrace how they defended that
Zielinski.
goal in the last minutes of the game to lose again at the 𝗀𝗵𝗿𝗀𝐿. Well, more games, 3 more games. Hoffenheim, Lyon, another team having a tough season. Hoffenheim, bottom 3 in Germany after losing at the weekend against 𝐵𝗲𝗄. 4 points in the Europa League, doing better, only lost to Porto. And Lyon, they are doing very good, I would say, in the Europa League. They lost to Besiktas, but beat Rangers and Olympiakos. Good odds, Leo, to back Lyon, I would say. I mean, good odds for everything, but I wouldn't trust Hoffenheim, to be honest.
Yeah, difficult to trust Hoffenheim. Damaging defeat with St. Pauli was just the second win for St. Pauli in the Bundesliga on the weekend, and it was the 5th defeat in 9 games for Hoffenheim. This said, I mean, 4 points so far in this Europa League is within, again, what we could have expected. A win against Dynamo Kiev, a good draw away with Midtjylland, and a matchday free defeat with Porto is nothing surprisingly. On Saturday, yes, they had the ball a lot. 72%, I think, was the stat on their possession, but they created absolutely anything on attack, especially on the first half. Lyon will come to this match, or will travel to Germany with players who they know the Bundesliga stadium, like 𝗵𝗂𝗏 and also Tolisso. Both they play in the Bundesliga, one for Mainz, the other one for the Bayern Munich. But still, the main man for Lyon is the 19-year-old Malik Fofana. He scored on the weekend against Lille to make it 1-1 on the dying moments of the match. Maitland Niles scored, but the VAR also ruled his goal out, so it could have been a win for Lyon away to Lille. So yes, I do agree that Lyon here are the favorite. They still have to face Qarabağ and 𝗀𝗏𝗿𝗀𝗏, so the playoff position at least won't be or shouldn't be under threat of any kind. They are experiencing anyway a little bit of dip in their form, at least when you look at the results, because after 5 consecutive wins, they are now in a run of 3 games without a win. But still, a point away to Lille is not bad at all. There is parity, of course, for the bookies. I would go the goals market, but goals under 3.5, odds of 1.67.
We have Mustafa Marco going for the draw. Also, 𝗀𝗵𝐴 is remembering these 2 teams met in the Champions League 2018, 2-2 in Lyon and 3-3 in Germany. For you, Alvaro?
I'm going to go for a draw no bet for Olympique Lyon. At the end of the day, Hoffenheim is in relegation zone in Germany. They lost 2-0 to St. Pauli, who are also battling to stay up. Then when it comes to their style, I'm not too sure, because in the Bundesliga, they are the second side to produce more crosses from open play, but then in the Europa League, they are down to 24th. So I don't know what's the answer to such a drastic change of style in the attacking patterns. It's true that this summer they lost Maximilian Bayer and Wout Weghorst. Bayer last season scored 16 goals and he went to Dortmund. And Weghorst is playing for Ajax and scored 7 goals. I think they are kind of well equipped up front with 𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗏 or Hlosets, but still, I think that this is a side that is struggling to score a little bit, but is struggling as well in some other departments. Whereas when it comes to Lyon, look, they are in an okay run with 2 draws in a row. Okay, but maybe a little bit below par for their expectations. They lost to Besiktas, and I think that the game against Besiktas was a bit deceptive because they hit the crossbar in the first half, then they got a shot cleared off the line in the second half, just in the stoppage time. It's true that they don't have an outstanding scorer this season, but 𝐿𝐴𝐶𝐶𝐻 and 𝗵𝐿𝐾𝐿 aren't bad at all, and I hope that, and I expect them to improve their numbers as the season goes by. And they've got the talent as well, with Zaha, with 𝗀𝗏𝗀, with Benrahma. I mean, we know those players. We know that Benrahma and Zaha, especially Zaha, are capable of creating something for themselves as well. And I really think that the talent of Lyon and the firepower that potentially have, but they haven't showed this season, at some point will emerge. So that's why I'm going to go for a draw, no bet for Lyon, 187.
Indeed, on Sunday they have the Ghon derby against Saint Etienne back in Ligue 1, so there is a massive game. We are going to analyze that game, of course, in our show with Alain Valnegri, both teams to score an over 2.5 goals for Jordan. Next game, probably the best one, together with Galatasaray. Tottenham, Lazio, Porto, both doing great. Also in their leagues, Lazio, very surprising to be honest, after the change of manager Baroni with no experience in great teams. They are in the top spots of the Serie A, 4 consecutive wins, also in the Europa League, all wins against Twente, Nice and Dynamo Kiev, and Porto, 6 consecutive wins in the Europa League, 4 points. They drew with Man United, they lost to 𝗀𝗏𝗀𝐻, and Alvaro, they have the top scorer of the competition. So great game, this one.
𝐿𝐴𝐴𝐧𝐼, 4 goals. He's the top scorer of the competition, as you say. This time I'm not going to back him because, I could back 𝐿𝐴𝐴𝐧𝐼 if this game was at home. Don't ask me why. I think that Porto is more likely to score goals at home than away. But yeah, you have to keep an eye on 𝐿𝐴𝐴𝐧𝐼 because, his scoring rate on the Europa League goes above 1 goal per game. Porto are correcting a bad start in the Europa League after losing to 𝗀𝗏𝗀𝗀. They've got 4 points now. In the Portuguese league, they have recorded 27 points out of 30. So I think it's going to be a good fight to win the league between them and Sporting Club Portugal. Let's see how Sporting fares after the departure of Rubén Amorim. And when it comes to Lazio, look, they are the leader of the competition, the highest scoring side altogether with Galatasaray. A few players are stepping up in this competition, like Pedro, for example, 2 assists, and he scored the goal in the last game. Then they are a high scoring side, we can say that, because in the league they are 5th, yes, but they have scored more than 2 goals per game. So under Marco Baroni, Lazio is capable of scoring goals, and they've got footballers like Tati Castellanos, 5 goals in the Serie A. Nuno Tavares, former Arsenal, not my cup of tea, but still 8 assists already this season. And then 𝗀𝗏𝗀, who is starting in the Europa League decent deal of games. And 𝗀𝗏𝗀, the former Villarreal footballer, he is also scoring this season. So I have mentioned a lot of scorers here. I have mentioned 𝐿𝐴𝐴𝐧𝐼, 𝗀𝗏𝗀, Tati Castellanos, Nuno Tavares, who is assisting, Pedro, who seems to be enjoying a honeymoon with this Europa League. So that's why I'm going for the goals market. So both teams to score 167, yes, because Porto scores many and because Lazio scores more than 2 per game in the Serie A, or otherwise over 2.5 goals. I'm happy to go there. 191.
All right, both teams to score for 𝗀𝗏𝗀𝗀 and over 2.5 goals. 𝗀𝗏𝗀𝗀 is also telling us that Baroni is a great manager indeed. Leo, this Lazio played on Monday and they won.
Yes, 2-1 against Cagliari. Alvaro mentioned 𝗀𝗏𝗀𝗀, and he scored the first one after only 2 minutes. 5th place in Serie A for them, just 3 points behind Napoli. They won 10 out of 14 games in all competition. That's very, very impressive, and scoring 33 goals in the process. They conceded only once in this Europa League, and that was when they won 4-1 at home against Nice on match day 2. Away to Twente, yes, they were held by that red card which we mentioned before, but it was a Twente side that previously held Manchester United and Fenerbahce, and Lazio could have scored 4 or 5 or 6 goals on that day. They didn't even need Tati Castellanos on the starting 11 in Holland, neither Matteo Guendouzi, who was injured on that night. Last night it took them personally a little bit more than I thought to beat Cagliari, but still they got the job done in the second half. Pedro yesterday came from the bench and had an impact again. He did not score, but when he replaced 𝐿, the game was tied 1-1. The same goes for Matías Vecino, and I think both Pedro and Matías Vecino will start against Porto. So you have Pedro, 𝗀𝗏𝗿𝗀, Tati Castellanos. That makes a very good front three. At the back, Romagnoli and Mario Gila are also having a good season. You could have a good duel there, a good battle between Gila against Samu, Real Madrid against Atletico Madrid. It's very close, very interesting one. I believe, as you said, I think at the beginning, maybe the best game we have in this match day 4 in the Europa League. My takes here: Lazio draw, no bet, 1.86, and I will go also the route of goals. Both teams to score, yes, 1.67.
Really, really good game. And this one, Lazio together with Tottenham and Anderlecht, the only teams with 3 wins. Anderlecht playing against Riga's Football Scola away. We are not going to analyze that game, but the last game we are going to analyze is Man United PAOK, because I guess it should be the first win for the Red Devils in these competitions. 3 draws. Van Nistelrooy had his debut as main coach or interim coach against Chelsea. Probably Man United deserve more, but another draw. Did you see some signs of change, Leo? The players didn't want to play for Ten Hag, and maybe now is way better with Van Nistelrooy, Ruben Amorim, or whoever comes.
Well, look, I mean, in the Premier League, and despite the 1-1 with Chelsea and having now Van Nistelrooy in the bench, not many things have changed, because this is still a team that seems cannot score. Only 9 goals scored in 10 matches in the Premier League. But then with Van Nistelrooy against Leicester in the League Cup, they scored 5 to go to the quarterfinals. We will see if Van Nistelrooy is still going to be around by the time Amorim gets hold of his position in this club. This is an important game for Manchester United, which I believe they will win, or that's what it should happen, at least the way I see it, on Thursday. And it's important because if they win on Thursday, then that will leave the way for Amorim to play his first home match on matchday 5 in the Europa League against Bodo Glimt, knowing that the win will almost put them through at least into a playoff position. And we will see if Van Nistelrooy on that day is still going to be part of Manchester United or not, because Amorim is coming with a full coaching staff. That was one of his requirements. So no one knows if Van Nistelrooy will stay or not. But yeah, the problem with them is, like, lately, at least or mostly in the Premier League, they don't have a goal scorer. I mean, you look at PAOK and you have someone who has scored 4 goals and is a midfielder, like the Austrian Stefan Schwab. And the goal scorer for Manchester United in the Premier League is Garnacho with only 2. And PAOK is desperate, is traveling. It could have been even more desperate, I believe, for PAOK, because they were 6 minutes away from losing against Victoria Pilsen, and then they managed another time to make it 2-2. Otherwise, it would have been 0 out of 9 points possible for them. There's no value on Manchester United full-time here as the clear favorites. So for me, Manchester United first half win. That's one of the takes, 1.67. And the other one, second half goals over 1.5, odds very similar, 1.68.
All right, Alvaro, as we said, PAOK had a tough game at the weekend against Olympiakos, but we are doing great in the Greek league. Second in Europe, only 1 point. Tell us something about this PAOK.
Well, that the manager is a good one, 𝗀𝗏𝗋𝗀. Then in the Europa League, they suffered 2 losses against Galatasaray and Bucharest, but they drew with Victoria Pilsen, and they did it with 10 men. You have to give some merit and some credit to a team that does it, especially in the final stages of the second half. After the 80th minute, both goals from PAOK arrive just to earn a draw after a big fight. PAOK comes from the playoff, and it's a side that is not particularly devoted historically to possession, I would say. or at least, over the last 10 years, but they have enjoyed an average of 56% possession in the competition, so they are tasty on the ball. For me, the most attractive player to watch, because he is very creative, is Constantelias. He's worth following, he's young, but he may be out for this game with the virus. But then there are more players that people will recognize, especially former Premier League footballers like Bakayoko, that I'm not too sure whether he will play or not. He played for Chelsea, and he was a very expensive signing for Chelsea after having a very good season for Monaco. And Dejan Lovren, who is more likely to play, I would say, the former Liverpool defender. Then a striker like 𝐋𝐞𝐿 is always there, international with Serbia, a terrific servant for PAOK over the last years, scoring many important goals. And then Tyson. Tyson, you may remember him because he played for Shakhtar Donetsk with all the Brazilian players who were there under the 𝗀𝗵. And Tyson remains a really good footballer. And he's so technical, and you give him the ball and he protects it and he controls it and he gives the right pass and he's got this pausa, this, calm on the ball that may be very beneficial at a ground like Old Trafford, because Manchester United will probably have most of the possession and will dominate the game. And sometimes having a footballer like Tyson that you can play the ball to and he can hold it is priceless. And then when it comes to Manchester United, just very quickly, I like a lot Bruno Fernandes against Tottenham, against Chelsea, thinking about that game. Bruno was, and Leo will remember this because we commentated on this game together, Bruno not only scored the penalty, but he was chasing Cole Palmer as if there was no tomorrow. Because he knew that Cole Palmer was the biggest creative outlet of Chelsea and his commitment was there. And many people say that Bruno doesn't have the commitment or they don't like his antics. But for me, I don't know if he's a good captain, but his sacrifice on the pitch is always there. It's always there. And, Manchester United is a team who has problems with the scoring. They have spent 230 million on 𝗀𝗏𝗏, 𝗀𝗏𝗏, Antony and Diallo. And, I wouldn't put a single penny on them to score, to be honest. I wouldn't. Manchester United has a problem with scoring. So I'm going to go for under 3.5 goals, 174. I think that Manchester United can win it, yes. But I don't think that they are going to hammer PAOK Thessaloniki. Under 3.5 goals, 174. Otherwise, a draw at 20 minutes, listen to this, 1.6. Why? Because I think that Manchester United, the bookies expect Manchester United to go out there and to destroy PAOK from the start of the game. But Manchester United is not Real Madrid. Manchester United is not Barcelona. It's not Bayern. They cannot come onto the pitch and start storming the opponent because it's not in them and they don't have the players to do this. So a draw at 20 minutes, 1.6.
Okay, guys. Marco is telling us his favorite to win this Europa League, and it's Galatasaray. Odds are 17 for the Turkish team. The favorite right now is Tottenham, and then Man United behind the Spurs. Of course, still early days. There you have, guys, the tipster competitions to participate. Monthly, yearly. We have now NBA as well, Premier League and NFL. So a lot of different competitions to win cash prize. Is completely for free to participate. So you can add your Europa League games to your bet slip. And also remember that we are on Discord, this new platform for you. Let's finish the video. Let's go with your safe bets. Leo?
My safe bet, Lazio Porto goals over 1.5, odds of 1.3.
Álvaro?
Ajax to win, 140.
Ajax playing against Maccabi Tel Aviv.
Yeah.
And the ACCA, Álvaro?
Very quickly, Asian handicap -1 for Ajax. Anderlecht to win. Roma, draw no bet. Altogether 5.38.
There is another good one, is Bodo Glimt playing at home against Karabakh. Bodo Glimt win all the games at home, and Karabakh 0 points. Odds for Bodo Glimt is 1.6.
Karabakh has been a bit unlucky though with the send-off in the last game, at the start of the game. But anyway, Karabakh is true that right now they got 0 points, right?
0 points, bottom
Yeah.
of the table, and Bodo Glimt super strong when they play at home, even beating big teams. Leo, your ACCA?
Includes that one, mine. Bodo Glimt to win, Ajax to win, Lazio, Porto, both teams to score yes, and Manchester United to win the first half. All these four with the odds of 6.24.
Leo, wise man, you had it, Bodo Glimt, in your ACCA. Let's check them on Friday. Well, thank you, guys. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Let's keep enjoying this new format of the Europa League with so many good teams. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.